Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online, and oh my lord, did I discover something interesting just this past weekend. Whilst I was busy doom scrolling on my Twitter timeline, I stumbled across a bit of information about Kim that absolutely blew my mind. Now everybody knows that Kim, who's currently starring on this season of 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, has been married previously, and of course that was to the lovely Jamal's dad. But it's been drawn to my attention that Kim has yet another secret marriage. Just what is it with these 90 Day Fiancé stars who believe they can have secret marriages, not relationships but whole marriages, and we're not going to find out? So you might think, well, big deal, Kim's been married before. But not me. I think, why did she want to keep this a secret? You might well ask. I just have one question for you. In what world would Kim's relationship status with Sojaboy be deemed an upgrade? And the answer is in Kim's world, because her ex-husband, the one she declined to tell us about, was doing a life sentence in prison for murder. And Kim proves to everybody, once again, that she doesn't know the meaning of happily ever after. Guys, if you've yet to do so, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press the notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. And also, don't forget to smash that like button. And so without further ado, here's the story of Kim's secret marriage. So guys, very quickly I hopped on over to Screen Rant, which is where I get all of my best 90 Day Fiancé stories. And as always, I'll link the article in information down below. And Screen Rant give us a few more details on this marriage. And so apparently, a few years ago, Kim got married to somebody called Kevin Golphin. So guys, Kevin, along with his older brother, Tlomon Golphin, was then, and still is now, in prison for the double murder of state troopers in North Carolina. And so when I was reading all of this, I had more than just a couple of questions. What exactly happened? And two, how did Kim come to marry this person in prison? And so on the awful day of this double murder, Kevin, who was 17, and his older brother, Tlomon, were driving around in North Carolina, and the car they were driving in was used in a robbery at some earlier point. And so the police pulled them over and asked them to exit the vehicle. And during the stop, both brothers fired at police, and they actually shot 3 policemen. Luckily, one was just injured, but the other 2 actually lost their lives in this altercation. And they were both family men. Both of the brothers were found guilty on all charges, and they received the death penalty, which in both cases was later commuted to life in prison. And so even though they were found guilty on all charges, for some inexplicable reason, when Kim saw the story on a TV special, she felt there was more to the story than met the eye. Oh Kim, it's that 10/20 vision coming to the fore once more. And so Kim decided at once she wanted to go and visit him, and so she wrote to him in prison, obtained a visiting order, and she decided to go and see him. And so after several visits, the couple allegedly hit it off, and the couple decided to marry, and the vows took place in prison. And so guys, the marriage only lasted 2 years, and it was annulled at the end of this period, which was quite easy to do because the marriage was never consummated. But what in the world was she thinking? Well, Kim hasn't made any official statement on this, but according to In Touch Weekly, and I'll link the article down below in information, Kim believes in not judging others, and that's why she did what she did. She wasn't with him at the time of the murder, which was in 1997. And they also state that she didn't condone what they'd done, as well she might not. He was responsible for the death of 2 people. So apparently Kim believes in not judging others. Oh Kim, come on. Most sane and right-thinking people do actually judge others on what they say, and most importantly, what they do. Why would anyone give, I don't know, mental relief to somebody who's responsible for such a horrible crime? If you can't judge somebody for committing a double murder, what can you judge them for? And so guys, this information to me was quite interesting and quite illuminative as it pertains to Kim. And whilst I think many might think, well, women that want somebody who's in prison that has no realistic possibility of getting out are perhaps just looking for somebody who's absolutely committed to the relationship, can't cheat on them, and also of course the person in prison needs them. They need them for money, for letters, for visits. And so of course, once again, Kim has something that somebody else needs, and that puts her in some sort of position of power within the relationship. And so I decided to look a bit deeper into this, and a journalist called Sheila Eisenberg examined the phenomenon of women who find love or romance with prisoners, and she did have some interesting findings. And so one of her main findings was that women like to be in a relationship with someone whose crimes have attracted a lot of attention. And some of that attention is then transferred to these women. And also another interesting thing, which I'd never considered or heard of, is that these women like being attracted to convicted criminals. Because if they've never been able to act on their rage previously, they live vicariously through the prisoner's actions. She also notes that many prison brides have a history of violent relationships, and dating or marrying someone in prison allows them to be with very violent men and engage with them without putting themselves in physical danger. And then, of course, finally, something that we've heard about many times before, the women think that these men can't cheat and can't betray them, although many of them often do, because they're writing to multiple women and having multiple visits, often at the same time. And from a psychological standpoint, all of these points are quite interesting. But are any of them the reason that Kim decided to take this course of action? Without hearing from her, it's very difficult to say. And I also read into a book called Dream Lovers, Women Who Marry Men Behind Bars, and that was written by someone called Jacqueline Wilcox Bailey. And part of her research found that prison relationships retain the intoxicating elements present in every romance. The first endorphin flush of love, and the imagining that the object of that love embodies all the qualities that they crave. And also the fact that this relationship is one that simply can't be marred by infidelity. And so all of these things might be true for Kim. I have no idea. I'd love to know the truth be told. I'd love to hear her speak on this issue. However, I've got a theory, and it's the following. I think that Kim loves the high drama. And I think that she loves to feel different in a relationship. So if you look at the relationship she has with Sojaboy, before she even met him, she was telling him, I'm in love with you. And although she knew he wanted a green card and she was sending him expensive gifts and buying him PS5s and so on, every single time she was talking to producers or speaking with her friends, she was excited by not just the relationship, but the notion of the relationship, what the relationship represented. She was saying, oh my God, I can't believe my life right now. Who would have thought it? I'm with a superstar. I'm with a rapper / singer. And so she was living what was possibly quite a boring, mundane life for her. And she managed to swap this boredom for another life, a different life. But really she was just living vicariously through this other person, vicariously through someone else. And it could well be the same with Kevin, a convicted murderer. It wouldn't surprise me if when she started seeing him, she was telling her friends and family, you don't know him like I know him. And my life is so different to everybody else's. I think she craves that limelight, that difference. I think she wants to feel special. And this is the way in which she feels she can do it. And I also think it's highly possible that because her first marriage, the one of 20 years to Jamal's dad, was characterised by infidelity, cheating, and just general disrespect, and treating her more or less like, I don't know, the hired help in the home. Both of these other relationships, Sojaboy and this guy in prison, give her the ability to command an awful lot of attention. She previously told us that Sojaboy and she would talk for hours and hours on the phone, and they'd text each other up to 10 or 20 times a day. I can imagine it would have been similar with the guy in prison, probably not the phone calls, but letters every week and consistent contact. And I think that's also what Kim craves. But of course I have absolutely no idea if this is the case or not. In fact, it's possible that Kim doesn't even know why she chooses the relationships she does. But I think one thing's for sure, Kim always seems to pick relationships that are destined for crappily ever after. None of these relationships can reasonably work. So guys, let me know what you think of this whole story. I was literally flabbergasted when I read it. And I was also quite surprised it didn't come out before now. Hopefully at some point she'll make a statement on this, or somebody will manage to get an interview with her. But in the meantime, let me know what you think of this in comments down below. And also, when I was researching for this story, I've read into this crime that these two brothers perpetrated quite extensively. So if anybody wants any more details with regard to this, I will be uploading a video on my other channel. Yes, it does still exist. Just giving you the details. I can't really put all of the details here because it's highly likely the video will be demonetized because of the nature of the content. But it is, I think, a very interesting case. Guys, just a short one today. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back with reviews of 90 Day Fiance later in the week. Please don't forget to subscribe and like and all of that good stuff. And I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online, and I bid you good day.